97.7 Dundalk FM.
Town Talk.
Oh, that is such a great song. It is bringing us a wee bit back. I won't mention the year. Someone to talk to by the Devlins. And Lorraine, is it fair to say you are that someone to talk to? That is, we'll mention at the top of the interview, of course, Peter Devlin of the band The Devlins is your partner.
Yes, he is. Yeah, and like most wives, I think, out there, he doesn't often talk that much or enough. I do a lot of the talking in this house call. but it's yin and yang. It works well. I love that song. And you know, they have a new album out as well. They
do indeed. And I was going to play, I'm going to play one of the songs off it a wee bit later on in the show. It is great to see them. I saw them live, and we will get on to the matter at hand and the reason why we have you on the phone. I saw them live back, I think it was around about 83, 84, or 93, 94, around that. I think it was the National Concert Hall. Really good gig. They were supporting Stunning. And it's such an amazing gig. I always remember it to this day. But listen, Lorraine, we know you from TV, we know you from print, we know you from radio, we know you from stage, it has to be said as well. But the reason why we have Lorraine Keane on the phone here this morning is to talk about your role as ambassador with World Vision. Tell me about World Vision and exactly what it is.
They're a wonderful charity that work in all parts of the developing world, Cathal, and one of their key programs would be the sponsorship program, and that's a program that allows you to sponsor a child who is living in severe poverty in a different part of our planet. So I actually came across World Vision Ireland over 25 years ago, would you believe, and I hadn't even met Peter at that stage, and I just thought it was such a nice idea to be able to give a tiny amount of money every month and know that you're helping not only a child, but their entire family and indeed an entire community. I also love the idea of getting little updates, you know, every now and again during the year. You'd get their school report, or you'd get a little picture that was drawn and coloured in by the child, a little message, and you can also send them a little message on their birthday and their Christmas, a Christmas present as well. So it was just, for me, something to give back, really, because I've always felt so lucky being able to work in the industry that I work in and earn a living and have, you know, a very comfortable life. And then when I met Peter and a few years later we had our girls, I was still sponsoring the same child. The first child that I started sponsoring was a young boy, age 6, called Clements. And by the time the girls came into our lives and they were able to understand, you know, what we were doing and the fact that we were helping this child in another part of our world that, through no fault of their own, were living a completely different life than our two girls. It was just lovely for them to be able to understand and appreciate what we have, because we live in this gorgeous, safe little country called Ireland.
Insulated from such horrors. And in the interest of full disclosure, myself and my wife also sponsor a child through World Vision. We've been doing it like yourself, Lorraine, probably not quite as long. We've over 20 years sponsoring. We've got a different child. Our current child, Jane, is in Uganda, and like you said, you get these sporadic correspondence from them, and what is such a little commitment on your behalf is such a huge impact on their behalf.
It really is, and I've travelled to various parts of the developing world, Cathal, over the last 15 years. Had to pause it during COVID, but I've made 10 trips over the last 15 years, and I travelled with World Vision Ireland on 3 occasions. And when you see, you know, the difference that money makes, and I have no agenda, only to help kind of spread the positive word of the wonderful work that they do. So I've no ulterior motive. I go over as a volunteer. But then I have the opportunity, because of my job, and I know I'm very lucky to have access to the likes of you and your show and various other media, so I can come back and then share those stories. But when you see the difference that the money is, like, it really is making a massive difference. It's life-changing. It's in fact life-saving for a lot of these communities.
I think the important aspect of it is that focuses on education and how important education is, because it's the old adage, teach a man to fish or a woman to fish. they'll, it's a lifetime
Exactly.
skill.
Yeah,
Um,
don't just give them money.
yeah,
They give them, as you say, education and resources and skills and training, so that they can actually look after themselves. They would go into these communities, and they'd be there for between kind of 2 to 5 years, and then they become self-sufficient and they can move on to the next community. And that's really important.
it's in existence for over 70 years. It's worth pointing out, so it's not a new thing for anybody. The services they offer obviously expanded over the last number of years, responding to emergencies from earthquakes, empowering children and families, extreme poverty, protecting children from abuse and exploitation. All these things are still so prevalent today as they were 70 years ago.
They are, and the campaign that they're doing this year, which is just so lovely, is called the Campaign of Firsts. So it's to give a child, a family, a community, say, for example, their first water pump. So then they have clean drinking water, safe drinking water, prevents disease. And then obviously they're not having to walk long distances either each day to get water. They get, as you said, access to education. So this could be the first step to becoming a community leader rather than a child bride, for example, for a young girl. They go on to become teachers. I mean, I remember Romy, when she was about 6, saying to me that the last 3 photos from Clements that were sent to us, so 3 in a row, that he was wearing the same shoes, and he was wearing the same little sandals, little flip-flops in every single photo. But in the first photo of the 3 years in a row, they were too big in him, and by the 3rd year they actually fit, and it was Romy that actually spotted that in the photo. And I remember just thinking, this is really important for our very lucky and privileged, blessed children to understand that there are children just like them in different parts of the world that don't have the opportunities that they have.
There is a lesson, because I know we get insulated over here and we have our own problems, and we're not going to go down that road. But relatively speaking, when you see what other countries and other kids have to contend with, I often wonder, when say the Wi-Fi goes down in the house or something, and there's a major problem with signals, and you kind of go, do you realise what you're complaining about? And to witness that, and for, as you say, Romy, you're the child to twig about the shoes, and that's one person that had shoes. That one child that had shoes that were too big initially. There's many that would have the shoes would be too small, and they'd still have to wear them,
or have no shoes at all.
or none at all.
That's the thing. So yeah, I mean, it's a very small amount every month, and it's so rewarding. It's probably one of the most rewarding things I've ever done. And it's just, I think it's so important for our families to understand that, as I say, just sheer bad luck. That they're born in a part of the planet that is suffering because of climate change, more than us. So we're doing all the damage on this side of the world, and they're the ones that are suffering the consequences. Because even, like, when I think about it, the first trip that I went on was 15 years ago. And at that stage, Cathal, natural disasters would happen every kind of 8 or 10 years. Now, 15 years on, they're happening every second year. And it takes 2 years for them to actually, work their way out of a natural disaster and get back on their feet. So it's just a constant,
It's devastating.
I honestly think that we shouldn't, for, us privileged people living in the developed world, it shouldn't even be a choice, it shouldn't be will I or won't I. I think we just, if we can spare a small amount every month, that we just should.
It's worth pointing out, and you rightly point out the natural disasters that have been occurring, and the people that are paying the price for our progress, has to be said, are people who can ill afford it. COP29 yielded, I think Ireland will have to pay 5 million towards restitution, or towards fighting climate change. It's a small amount, really, isn't it?
It really is. It absolutely is. So, yeah, I think for people to give a gift of child sponsorship to somebody this Christmas would be, it's just a nice thought. And it's so easily done. You just go on to worldvision.ie, or there's also a number that I can give as well.
Oh, please do.
01498 0800. And yeah, it's just something that I know that the whole family, your own family, will benefit from. Never mind the family that you're helping overseas.
What what sort of response do you generally get? Is that a fair question? Is it a fund that's growing? Is it something that's growing exponentially as the year goes by, or is it a tough sell?
Well, I think there are so many deserving causes out there, Cathal, and, Ireland has become a very expensive place to live in for all of us as well. So, we're all noticing how we've had to kind of tighten our belts, and just life is just the cost of living is just so much more. So, it's difficult for people, especially at this time of the year, to have anything that's kind of spare. And then, as I say, there's so many deserving causes out there, and closer to home as well. So many amazing charities that we all want to help. So I suppose it's just
do what you can, I think, is what you could really say.
Give a little bit more. You can even do, like, if you go onto worldvision.ie, you can even do just a one-off gift, And again, it's because, I suppose, for me, we all spend a little bit more Christmas time because of gift giving. But for me to receive a gift where that you're helping a charity, because we all have so much, and some of us have way too much. And for that reason, I think, we need to share a little bit of our good fortune. And if you're thinking of buying a gift for somebody this Christmas, or for a family member, or Chris Kindle, then maybe a gift like this, knowing that you're saving lives, would mean much more, because we really, most of us have enough, and have enough to get by. So yeah, it's just to give something back, and it is such a wonderful charity. And as I said, I've seen myself firsthand the difference that it's making.
Is it we're just going to finish up on this, Lorraine? Is it a charity? Are you going to be heading out soon? Is it something that you try to get out every year? Because you have made a lot of visits, and it goes to different countries. I said it's Mozambique, it could be Uganda. There's a number of different countries. So many, unfortunately.
Yes. Yeah, and they are not trips that I look forward to, Cathal.
No.
As you can imagine, they're very, very tough. And being a mom of two girls, it makes it even tougher. When you're meeting and speaking to other moms who are putting their children to bed at night hungry, and not knowing if, when they wake up, they'll even have food for them. They're so dependent on people like us helping, and through the sponsorship program, and that would just break your heart, and I dread them. And then once I get over there, I know I'm there for, I go for a week, 10 days max, and you kind of hit the ground running, and you just focus on the job. And it's not about me being upset. It's about me, covering as much of the projects with the charity as I can, and then being able to come back and share those stories, and hopefully then their fundraising increases. So yeah, it's not something I look forward to, but it's something that I know that I can do and I can help with. So therefore I don't feel like I have a choice. And then when I come back and I get to talk to people like you about what I've seen, and share the stories of the women, the mums that I've met, and the dads and the kids and whatever, in some ways that makes it easier, because I get to talk about it, Yeah. But it stays with you it never really goes away, to be perfectly honest. But I think it helps because I know that I'm actually helping.
Yeah.
That's what gets me through it.
No, it's an important message to get across there, Lorraine. You hit the nail on the head. It's the fact that you are helping, and people know that if they contribute to World Vision, it is helping in a very, very direct way. And I just wanted to read here. So, you have 89%. This is 100% of donations made. 89% go directly to programmes. 8% goes to admin fees, and 3% to fundraising. So there's such a small. You contribute for every euro you contribute, 89 cent of that is going directly to schemes that are being run by World Vision. That's a credit to you and all the people involved.
Thank you, Carl. And that's really, really important for people to know, that, you know, when you're donating your hard-earned money to a charity, that amount of it is going to the people that need it most. And the rest is just to keep the business going, and to make sure that they can get to these places and give the help that is needed. So yeah, thank you for reminding me of those, because that's a fact, and it's really, really important for people to know that.
It is. People like to know where the money's going. And listen, Lorraine, it's a pleasure. Lorraine Keane, ambassador with World Vision. Go on the website, because it is really, really a worthwhile cause. Lorraine, it is a pleasure having you on the show. Take care.
Thank you, Carl. Take care. Happy Christmas.
Oh, happy Christmas. I suppose we should do that now. We're in December.
I know.
Take care.
97.7 Dundalk FM.
Town Talk.